This is my DI. Alright. You always hear kids talk about what kind of careers they want when they grow up. Some kids want to be president, others want to be astronauts. My son, however, wants to be Michael Jackson. I never really thought that my first big battle as a mother would be trying to explain to my son why he can't go spend the night at Neverland Ranch. He's always trying to do some cute little dance move to make me laugh. He reminds me so much of his father in that way. Not that his dad could bust a move to save his life. More that he has something in him that makes me want to smile. So I don't really care if he wants to be the President of the United States, an astronaut, or even Michael... Well, the singing and dancing part of Michael Jackson anyways. As long as he's like his father. Strong, proud, courageous. Everything Ramon would have wanted him to be. The Iraq War lasted from 2003 to 2011 and cost the lives of nearly 4,500 American soldiers. But the cost of war goes beyond our men and women in uniform, deeply affecting their remaining spouses and children. Amanda Villatoro, a proud Army wife, is left to answer the question of what her husband died for. Her love, faith, and relationships are put to the test as she must learn to keep her husband's legacy alive for their fatherless child. P.F.C. by Juan de la Cruz, a true story. Ramon and I met each other in high school. He had this sort of air of confidence about him. At just 14, he was sure he was going to play for the San Francisco 49ers. Then at 15, his life goals changed completely. It's hard to imagine that it's been over 10 years since 9/11. I remember sitting in class that morning, each one of us scared for our lives. We were in a small town, in a small high school, but each one of us knew that impact. Ramon, more than anyone. Not 2 minutes had passed since the first tower fell, when he got up and told the entire room that when we graduated, he was joining the Army. It seemed like one of those things that you say in the moment, but Ramon was serious. And sure enough, the first thing he did when we graduated was sign up. And I thought that was it. I'd never see him again. However, 6 months later, after completing boot camp, he came home and took me on a date to this little Italian restaurant right around where we grew up. It's Rosemary's. It's got twinkly lights and checkerboard tablecloths, everything that you'd want on a first date. Except for one thing. About halfway through the meal, he got down on one knee and said, "The entire time I was at boot camp, I kept asking myself, why am I doing this? What do I fight for? You are my reason." And you guessed it, we got married. And I moved back with him on base at Fort Carson in Colorado. And from there I became an Army wife. Hooah! Everything was pretty normal. And then in January, he got the orders we both knew were coming. We set off to Iraq in March. He was given the rank of P.F.C., Private First Class. You know, I'm not stupid. Okay, I know the consequences associated with war and those associated with someone in war. But that didn't stop me from planning and for hoping when he got back. When he was there, he called me once a week like clockwork. On one of his calls, I had something very important to tell him. It was easily the loudest I'd ever heard him become. You could overhear him saying to his Army buddies, "Do you know how amazing my wife is? She's so amazing she couldn't keep it in one body, she just had to make another." Nobody could shut him up. About a week after that phone call, I got a picture from Ramon. It's one of those talking pictures, you know, where you press a little button on the back and you record something for whoever you're sending it to. Mine was of him in his uniform with Iraq in the background. And it said, "I love you, Mama. I'll be home soon." It was 1 week later. Do you have any idea what it's like to be woken up early in the morning by soldiers dressed in uniform? I mean, I know that you read about it in books and that you see it in the movies, but you can't even begin to fathom that kind of heartbreak you endure. When you open the door and you see them standing there. Ramon was the first soldier from our town to die during the war, and his casket was to be flown in on Friday. That picture was the last thing I ever got from him. No hug, no kiss goodbye, no hand to hold, no shoulder to cry on, just that damn picture! And an empty promise that he would be home soon. Why did he have to go and leave me here, all alone, with nothing but a picture? On the Wednesday before the funeral, I got a call from one of the local radio stations. If any of you don't know who Fred Phelps is, I'll help you out a little bit. In 1998, a man by the name of Matthew Shepard was beaten and left to die because of his sexuality. Reverend Phelps took his congregation to Wyoming and protested outside of the murder trial, saying that God was on the killer's side. Apparently, Mr. Phelps wanted to come protest my husband's funeral, saying that God is God is killing American soldiers. The radio station had gotten several calls from local citizens threatening to attack the protesters, and they wanted my opinion. I said, my husband died fighting for a country that he believed in. My husband died fighting for the rights of American citizens, all rights, including those of freedom of speech. So if Mr. Phelps wants to protest, please, let him do so in peace. Well, the day of the funeral finally rolled around, and I was picked up and taken to the funeral. As I got out, I saw people lined up around the corner as if Ramon was some sort of celebrity. They were waiting to get in. And as I got up to the front doors, I heard a deep rumbling off in the distance. And as the rumbling got closer and closer, I realized it was about 100 bikers. And as they approached and came to the stop, I saw that they had flags on their seats, and they were off-duty policemen and off-duty firefighters and veterans. Each one of them came for Ramon. The oldest man from the group came up and said, your husband deserves a proper goodbye. Nobody will disturb this funeral. So, here I am, keeping Ramon's legacy alive. Just the other night, actually, I was reading baby Ramon some letters that his dad wrote to me at boot camp. Not, of course, the letters in their entirety. I don't think it's time for him to know that Daddy has such a potty mouth. His face lights up every time. When I finished, I said, Mommy and Daddy got married. They were blessed with a special gift. Do you know what that gift was? It was you. And that gave Daddy all the strength he needed to be a hero. Yes, like Superman. Alright, it's time for bed. P.F.C. Ramon A. Villatoro. Rest in peace.